I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Friday, August the 15th, 2014. The extended ceasefire between Israel and Hamas seems to be holding today. Israel's Security Cabinet met this morning to discuss the five-day truce, as well as the status of efforts in Cairo to reach a long-lasting agreement. The Israeli delegation left Cairo yesterday and is set to return after the Sabbath tomorrow night. The U.S. State Department yesterday reaffirmed the United States' commitment to Israel's security and said there has been no change to U.S. policy regarding providing arms to Israel. This follows a report from the Wall Street Journal earlier this week that claimed the U.S. had halted a shipment of missiles to Israel after learning that Israel had reportedly dealt directly with the Pentagon without White House approval. Deputy State Department spokesperson Marie Harf said yesterday that, "Let me be clear, there has been no change in policy, period." In what seemed to be a reference to the report of a halt in the arms, or as some U.S. administration officials have said, a delay in their transfer, Harf did note that given the crisis in Gaza, it is natural that agencies take additional care with deliveries as part of an interagency process, saying it's not an unusual step, it is additional care that we would take in any crisis period. The Jerusalem Post reports that U.S. officials have echoed those statements, saying that reports of a delay were a mischaracterization of interagency procedure and not any change in U.S. policy. MEMRI, the Middle East Media Research Institute, released a report today that Hamas deported journalists from Gaza for filming its members launching rockets at Israel. According to the report, Hamas spokesperson al-mudallal told a Lebanese TV station today that journalists who filmed rocket launch sites were forced to stop or leave Gaza, claiming they were, quote, collaborating with the occupation, and suggested they were also coerced or threatened. As we reported to you earlier this week, the Foreign Press Association in Israel released a statement condemning censorship and threats to journalists by Hamas in Gaza. The leaders of the World Jewish Congress and of the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations published an open letter to the IDF, thanking them for their service and sacrifice in the battle against Hamas and other terror groups in Gaza. The letter from WJC President Ronald Lauder and Conference of Presidents Chairman Robert Sugarman and CEO Malcolm Hoenlein thanked the IDF on behalf of the Jewish state and the Jewish nation for their, quote, courage, commitment, and humanity in the battle against Hamas and other terrorist organizations that constantly and deliberately endanger civilians in Gaza and Israel, and sent prayers for the speedy recovery of the injured IDF soldiers and remembrance of those who fell in battle, writing, "A grateful American and world Jewish community thanks you." A federal trial began yesterday in Brooklyn, New York, of U.S. citizens injured in Hamas and Islamic Jihad terror attacks that occurred in Israel between 2001 and 2004 during the Second Intifada. The Associated Press reports that 140 plaintiffs are suing Jordan's Arab Bank in the civil case for allegedly funneling money to the terror groups. The Arab Bank has maintained that they are not liable and didn't know the money was going to terror organizations. The lawsuit was originally filed in 2004 under the U.S. Anti-Terrorism Act, which allows victims of U.S. designated foreign terror organizations to seek compensation. This is the first time a bank has faced a trial under the act. Next, a division of Birthright Israel Foundation and the Natan Fund announced the recipients of their 2014 grants for social entrepreneurs. The three winners are Leora Maccabee Itman for TC Jewfolk, a startup that uses social media and community-based journalism to engage and inspire young Jews in Minneapolis and St. Paul; David Zvi Kalman for Open Quorum, an online platform for creating and promoting Jewish ideas through podcasts and live events; and Nathan DeGroot for Mikdash, a Jewish cooperative in Portland, Oregon. Next, CEO Morley Levin said of the recipients, like many of their peers in the Birthright Israel generation, they have a strong entrepreneurial spirit and want to create truly authentic Jewish experiences for their friends and communities. saying these grants are one way we can support their creativity and desire to shape vibrant Jewish life. Veteran Jewish activist and writer Leonard Fine has died. Fine was the creator of several Jewish institutions. In 1975, he co-founded Moment magazine with Elie Wiesel while he was a professor at Brandeis, where he taught political science and social policy as well as Jewish studies. In 1985, Fine founded Mazon, a Jewish response to hunger, and in 1997, the National Jewish Coalition for Literacy. Fine was also an author and longtime columnist for the Jewish Daily Forward, who called him an inspiration to generations of progressives and Jews. President of the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, Rabbi Steve Gutto, called Fine a giant of justice, a visionary, a thinker, a teacher, and a doer. Leonard Fine died yesterday morning. He was 80 years old. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Friday, August the 15th, 2014. Remember, live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 tonight from New York City's Central Synagogue. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.